Thank you so much for your time today. I've spent the week listening to your interviews in the car going to work each morning, and it has been such a pleasure being immersed in your world. And my daughters have been listening to them with me, and they're so inspired by the stories that you tell, which really encouraged me to ask you very practically the things that the younger generation can do, but also importantly, the older generation who have the financial resources, what you would encourage them to do so that they can actually resource that younger generation to take the action.
Well, I mean, obviously I'm going to say, please make donations to the Jane Goodall Institute and help through our Roots and Shoots program to help young Australians, if it's the philanthropist is Australian, children, grandchildren. And, you know, I always ask people, do you actually care about your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren? Yes, of course we do. Well then, you know, isn't it important that children be educated and helped to become citizens of the future, to create a better world?
Absolutely. And the thing that's fascinating in philanthropy is when you see the generations working together, that's when you get the passion, because you have the older generation with the resources and you hope the respect of the younger generation. And then you see everybody sort of contributing their beliefs and becoming impassioned, which is really promising.
It's really important. And you know, I couldn't have started back in 1960 if it hadn't been for an American philanthropist.
Oh, I didn't know.
Because I hadn't been to college, and everybody said, well, this is stupid, sending a young girl out into the forest. Nobody's ever done it. And that was it. But this, yes, he was wonderful, Hannibal Wilkie, and he gave me money for 6 months. So, but for philanthropy, I wouldn't have started.
You wouldn't have been there. And it was one of the questions I wanted to ask you about that time that you spent in Tanzania. And the groundbreaking discovery that you made was seeing the chimpanzees using grass, and they'd fashioned them as tools to get the ants out. And I was just curious, when you had the footage of them making their beds each day, why was the instinct to nest not seen as significant as the use of tools to hunt?
Well, I don't know. It's just that so many animals make nests.
It's not that unusual.
I mean, you know, think of the incredible nests made by birds, which is instinctive, and think of the amazing lodges made by beavers. So many animals make the most amazing nests.
Right.
But science back then thought that only humans had the intelligence to solve a problem by actually using a tool. And you're completely right, bending over branches, weaving them. It is the same as making a tool, but it just was never considered that way.
Right.
So and also, you know, the fashioning of a tool. So pick a grass stem, you can use it as a tool. Pick a leafy twig, you have to carefully strip the leaves and the side twigs before you can use it as a tool. So we were defined back then by science as man, the tool maker.
Right.
And this was a proof that chimps also could modify, thus make tools.
It wasn't unique to humans.
Yes.
It was an extraordinary discovery.
But I mean, the pygmies could have told you.
Yes, because they would have seen it.
Yes, they'd seen it. It wasn't really a discovery, it was an observation, because I was out there with the chimps watching everything they did.
And I noticed in the interviews you talked about how glad you were when you made that discovery because of the time that you'd spent there, and then you had this, you know, enormous discovery to share.
Well, the money was running out.
Yes,
Only
right.
6 months.
Right.
And because of that, Leakey, my mentor, was able to go to the National Geographic. And they said, yes, we'll provide money and we'll send a photographer and filmmaker. So when I first sent information back about the tool using and tool making, many scientists said, well, why should we believe her? She doesn't have a degree, hasn't been to college, she's a girl.
Yes.
You know, well, why do you have to believe that? But when they saw Hugo's footage, they had to believe.
There was the evidence.
And you know, can you believe there were some scientists who were so opinionated and arrogant.
Yeah.
They said, well, she must have taught them. And I'm thinking,
goodness.
The chimps were still running away from me.
Yes.
To have actually taught them would have been the most amazing feat.
To have orchestrated that.
Yes.
It was impossible.
Yes.
I guess my two last questions for you was when you're talking to the generations about your work, and I really see the importance of galvanising the younger generation, and Roots and Shoots, which people can find information about online, and they can join chapters all across the world. Do you find you have to change your message depending on the generations that you're speaking to?
Not really change the message, but maybe change some of the stories,
Right.
some of the words. You know, I've just been talking to a whole lot of little kids at 5 upwards, and you talk to them in a slightly different way, and you choose stories that you think they'll be fascinated in.
Yes.
When
yes.
you're talking to, you know, professors in a university, obviously you pick a different way of talking, but basically the message is exactly the same. Every single one of us makes some impact on the world every single day. And if we happen to be in privileged societies, then we have a choice as to what kind of difference we want to make. And you know, the 3 big problems we have to overcome. We have to eliminate poverty,
Yes.
extreme poverty, because you destroy the environment to live. You
Yeah.
buy the cheapest food because you have to. You can't afford to say, how was it made? Where did it come from? Did it harm the environment? Did it lead to cruelty to animals? And we have to eliminate, we have to change the mindset of everybody else.
Yes.
Because it was Gandhi who said, the planet can provide enough for human need, but not human greed.
Right.
And we got embroiled in a materialistic society, separated from the natural world. And it literally doesn't make sense to think you can have unlimited economic development on a planet with finite natural resources.
Absolutely.
So if we carry on with business as usual, that's the end.
Yes.
Not just of the natural world, but of our own species. And finally, we have to address a topic which many people shy away from, and that's human population growth.
Yes, absolutely.
Because this planet cannot support too many more people.
Yeah, and it
So-
is one of those discussions that people do feel uncomfortable going in there, but there are very practical solutions, like keeping girls in school and educating girls so that
Which
they
is
have
what
greater
we do.
choice. And
Yeah.
that's part of your program.
Part
isn't
of our
it?
program is to get scholarships, keep girls in school during and after puberty. And you know, you get landed up, so you go in like thinking, I'm going to get scholarships for girls. And then you find, well, you have to get money to build private latrines so that
Yes,
you
they
know,
could actually
during
use the
puberty.
facilities.
And then you
Absolutely.
find, well, we have to get money to get sanitary towels.
Yes, that's one of the things I love about
I
philanthropy is
know.
you get confronted with all these problems and you
Yeah,
think,
you
all
have to-
right,
you
well,
have
we
to
need to find the resources to solve them.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
So
great message.
It's very interesting, but we do provide family planning information in all our programs, 7 different countries now in Africa, in and around chimp habitat. And we find that family planning is really well received because cultures change and they know they can't afford big families anymore.
Yes, yes.
And we also do microcredit based on Muhammad Yunus's Grameen Bank so that women can take out tiny loans, and they have to be for environmentally sustainable projects. And then, you know, with their children getting money to stay in school, you begin to see change. But do we have time for this to take effect? Because it doesn't happen quickly.
That's right. And it very much is that message that I've heard you say again and again, that you have to approach these things from all different directions so that at any given time there's projects across the whole world that are looking to empower the younger generation, keep girls in school, look at ways to tackle climate change. And I think that's one of the great things I've really learnt from listening to you this week is just how many opportunities there are for people to be a part of this movement.
Yeah.
So I just thank you.
Everybody can.
Yeah, and it's just wonderful. And I have to just pass on a message that just watching my daughters respond to your conversations every morning in the car, it's such a gift. It really is. It's just a wonderful thing that you're doing because as young girls, I can see them just becoming so engaged and excited by what they can do. So thank you so much for
And my message
your time.
isn't just to the girls. It's
No.
just as much to the boys.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
I would like to end this maybe by saying there's a tribe in Latin America, I can't remember which country, and they say, my tribe is like an eagle, and one wing is male, and the other wing is female. I usually spread my arms out, but I can't because I've got a little doggy on my lap. And only when the 2 wings are equal will my tribe fly true.
That's beautiful.
And he's agreeing, you see. Hannibal
He
agrees
is
completely.
Unanimous. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks.
Thank you.